Well guys, I decided it's time to finally stop talking and get out and go for a little camping trip tonight. The high today was 60 degrees, so I'm in a t-shirt, and the low is gonna be 40 degrees. So I'm pretty excited to see what I need to do to stay warm. Now the rule of thumb for me when minivan camping is, generally speaking, the inside of the car can be 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit in these conditions, warmer than the outside. Now when it gets below freezing, it's really hard to stay warmer, but since the low is going to be 40, we should be fine without anything crazy like my diesel heater or my electric blanket. Now this road I have been down many times. I've also gone camping down it several times, but it has been quite a while since I've been here. I am, of course, in my lifted 3.5-inch lifted Toyota Sienna minivan, and there's actually a couple of small trees in my way down here right now. Oh, dang it. There's a tree down in my path. Let's go check it out. So these little spots right here don't bother me too much. There's something there that also doesn't bother me. Fortunately, this is actually a false alarm. I saw this giant log right here down in my path, but it looks like my trail actually goes that way. And the main reason I can't tell is obviously all the leaves have fallen, but this entire area is covered in leaves. There's actually a few sprouts out there and things like that. Now I am on an approved motor vehicle use trail. I don't go off of those trails, but it looks like we're gonna go ahead and continue on this way and see what we can get into tonight. Now this one here is small enough. If that tree right there fell off, I would be able to move that in the morning. The only true concern that I have right now is that I am gonna run out of daylight before I get there, so I won't be able to do any setup or anything like that. But it looks like I got about 45 minutes of daylight left, and we're probably about a half mile from my destination. Well guys, it was much less of an adventure than I expected. We made it out here, no problem. And since I've been out here last time, somebody made a small fire pit right there. That's kind of in the middle of this path, but I'm out here in a wide open, unoccupied campsite out here in the middle of nowhere. I could scream, I could do whatever I want. Unless someone comes out on a side-by-side or a four-wheeler, I'm essentially all alone out in the woods. And to kind of celebrate my first time camping really in a while, I brought, and hopefully I can find it, but I brought myself a little tea. I normally am a coffee drinker, but since it's so late at night, I think I'm gonna start off with a cup of tea tonight, save my coffee for the morning. And I actually brought quite a few things with me today that I'm gonna be using for this camping trip. I brought this diesel heater. Hopefully I don't need it, but I've got it just in case, and I put just about a gallon of fuel in it. I've got, of course, my hot plate that I love to make my food with, and I also have this coffee mug from another YouTube channel that I'm a fan of that I've got to wash out so I can make this cup of tea. So I mentioned in one of my recent videos that the way that I have this coffee maker sitting up here, it does fall over occasionally, and I'm going to show you guys in a second here, but I lost the front part of this coffee maker when it fell, and so I have been having to hold my coffee cup as I brew my coffee, or in this case my tea, because that piece that's missing, I don't know what the other half is, but that's the drip tray. And so without that drip tray, yes, this thing is more compact, but it's missing a very major component that prevents me from making a mess. So this is that last part of the year where the weather doesn't know what season it is. Is it winter? Is it summer? Where are we at in the season? And the best part about that is there's basically no bugs out here. So the van's also not really ready for this trip because I've taken a lot of stuff out over the last couple weeks. I took my solar panel off of the roof, and so I'm not getting any solar power into either of my power stations. But fortunately, I do have that alternator charger that has kept my main battery pretty much topped off. And then I messed up something else today, and that was I brought that diesel heater with me, and when I went to go fill it up, the diesel fuel spilled out of the nozzle and all over the heater. Luckily I had some napkins to wipe that off, but it made a little bit of a mess, and now the inside of the van smells like diesel fuel. So it's about to get dark, and what I want to do is, first of all, since bug season is basically over, I'm going to go ahead and pull out this snap shade. I've got two of these. These things have been a lifesaver throughout the summer, but bug season is over, so no longer needed. I'm going to go ahead and slide those in there out of the way. And I don't know if I've ever showed all of my window covers and all the setups for my windows, but I've got quite a bit of window accessories. And maybe if you guys want, I can make a video exclusively about, you know, all of my window shades, covers, things like that. Very good setup. They're not homemade. I mean, a lot of my stuff is not homemade, but they fit perfectly, and those things can make it completely dark in here. So I was chilly out there, but now that I'm back in the van, I'm actually not too chilly. I'm going to take this off. But the other thing I want to do before it gets dark is I want to go ahead and get my diesel heater set up. Listen guys, I know setting up the diesel heater inside of the vehicle is not exactly the best method. This one I feel a little better about, and luckily everything seems to be lined up so that I can have the heater. Yep, the air vent is not covered right there, but I can have the heater essentially facing where I sleep at night, and the exhaust is going to go straight out this window. I might make something custom for that exhaust later, but fortunately this exhaust is a screw-in exhaust. It's actually very secure, unlike those clamp style exhausts that could come undone. This one, you just screw it in. This one, you just got to line it up perfectly, get it screwed in. Some people have mentioned maybe using some thread, anti-seize, something like that. But once I get this thing going, if I can get it going, it's usually a pretty secure fit there. So now it's decently tight in there. There's no way that thing's going to come unscrewed and leak or spew fumes into the van. So another thing about these diesel heaters is most people will tell you that the instructions say to leave them horizontal or flat. I only use this like one day at a time, and then I usually put it away. So when I do that, any moisture that would accumulate inside of the hose will drain out as I disassemble and get this thing ready to move. Right now what I want to do is just get this window closed just enough I want the window closed just enough so that it doesn't touch, just like that. So right now I've got about a 1-inch gap all around that pipe. The heater itself is set up pretty good, so I think I'm ready for tonight. This power station's about a foot too short to get to my battery, but luckily I've got an extension cord in the trunk. So it looks like if I decide to, I'm gonna have heat tonight regardless, so pretty excited about that. But what I don't want is all of this cable just kind of hanging around, so I'm gonna feed this through. I'm gonna just feed it under here. I really apologize for the mess, but but I think I've got what I need. Plenty of cable. Got this heater all hooked up. So that turns out to be a theme of this channel is I'm almost never actually prepared for my adventures. I did bring food. I've got plenty of food for tonight. Plenty of water, like all of the necessities, but everything else, I don't want to say I haphazardly prepared, but I didn't have a lot of time to sit, think, prepare, get ready for this trip. And so for the most part, I have what I have in the van. And if I forget it, I'll put it in for the next trip, or I might forget on the next trip as well. But the main thing is I'm out here, I enjoy these adventures, and I think it might be time for some dinner. And so just like that, the sun is starting to set. I'm actually starting to get just a little chilly again, so I'm gonna put my jacket on one more time, but I don't know if it's gonna get cold enough for the diesel heater tonight. The low is still supposed to be 38 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's actually not too cold in the minivan camper. Yes, it's not a perfect temperature for someone who's trying to stay warm, but it's really not too cold for this blanket. I have the heated, it's an electric blanket. And then I also have another sleeping bag. Between those two things, the diesel heater is probably going to be overkill, but it is certainly not a party without my lights. So let's see if I can turn on my lights. How's the blue look? I think the blue looks pretty good. So my true options here, these are some $10 Amazon lights. I've got red, blue, green, purple, but they all are a little muted. I wish I would have invested a little more in a better light strip. So that might be a project that I have coming up, is getting a better light rope instead of this LED light strip thing, which is honestly kind of janky, but it looks pretty good. Even though I don't really need the diesel heater tonight, I want to go ahead and crank it up, put it on its lowest setting. I want to see how does the smoke fare when it comes out of the heater, because I don't like how short the exhaust hose is. It's right there next to the window, but I have it now just angled upwards so that the exhaust goes straight or up above the window. And the reason that's important is warm air rises, and if I have it too low, it'll give a chance for the exhaust to come back into the vehicle, and I really want to avoid that. The other thing is, because I only have that venting outwards, the other three hose components of this heater are inside of the van, and that is the intake for the combustion chamber, and then the inlet and the outlet for the heat exchanger. And I have a negative pressure inside of the van, And that's an issue because I also have this window right next to the exhaust open. And so that negative pressure is gonna pull in air from the outside through this window. So I wanna test this while I'm wide awake before I rely on it at 2 a.m. just to make sure that there's not any unwanted fumes or exhaust coming into the vehicle. Now this heater is so powerful that I could probably open more windows just to make sure that I have plenty of oxygen. The one thing you've got to be careful with any kind of fuel combusting, in this case diesel combusting, is of course that it does produce carbon monoxide. But the heat just started heating, and I'm going to give it a few minutes and see how it performs. Something else that I'm going to use, obviously, to make sure that I'm being safe is this carbon monoxide alarm. Some folks have said that this is not sensitive enough that it will only alarm me in extreme situations, but right now I'm going to have it so that I can monitor it while I'm consciously thinking about it, just to make sure that there's no smoke or anything, or at least carbon monoxide coming into the van. The sun has set. It's not that late. It's actually only about 6 p.m. But I need to get my dinner going, otherwise I'm never going to eat tonight. The big benefit of the diesel heater versus the electric blanket is it uses much less electricity, but it does use diesel fuel, whereas the electric blanket pulls around 100 to 150 watts. So a standard like 1,000 watt hour battery will tap out in 8-9 hours max. So on the menu tonight, I have one of my favorite meals, which is a very simple lentil soup. Nothing too crazy. I've got some lentils, and I of course have some better cheddars. This is lentils and rice, and this is probably like 3 or 4 servings. I can probably eat about half of it, so I already messed up because I should have put my water in so that I could let this stuff pre-soak just a little bit before I started it. Let me go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil in here just to lube that up. That should be plenty, probably too much honestly. We do of course need some water, and I always never put enough water in my rice and lentil mix, so I'm gonna go ahead and put plenty in there. That actually smells really good. I want to go ahead and stir this. I need to get a better spoon. I've only got these kind of disposable spoons, but oh yeah, that thing's gonna be cooking for a while. This stuff usually takes about 20 or 30 minutes just because of the overall, well, one, those are dried lentils. I didn't pre-rinse them or anything. So this stuff's gonna take 20-30 minutes to cook. I'm gonna just let it go. And while that's cooking, I do have that heater still blowing over there. It's a battle. Do I want the heater on and my jacket off, or do I want the heater off and my jacket on? I think it's still 54 degrees, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that heater off. It actually takes maybe 5-10 minutes anytime you start it to turn it off, because it has a cool down sequence. And these kind of heaters, you never wanna just shut them off. So first I've got to connect to it, and boom, already it's doing its shutdown sequence now. And I did of course pack myself 2 tasty better cheddars. Perfect mix of everything that's probably bad for you, but whoo, that thing is hot. I'm gonna let those cook for a few minutes. Since this is kind of a more relaxed channel, I wanted to go ahead and respond to a few comments from some viewers from my last couple of videos, starting with Karen. Now I have seen Karen. She has her own YouTube channel in Australia where she lives in her minivan camper, and she says, I like the bed, it looks comfortable. For the bed in my van, I just got a 120 centimeter garden bench from IKEA. I put a piece of plywood on top and attached a couple of legs at the front end, which works well and is comfortable. It's really important to have a comfortable bed in your van. Absolutely agree with that. Comfort is king when it comes to van beds. Thank you so much for that comment, and that might be helpful for some of the potentially shorter folks in here for a smaller bed setup like that. Moving on, we've got Lynn Dalton. She says, this is definitely what I've been envisioning for my tiny car. I think I have what I need without spending any money at the moment, with a fully reclining and sitting lawn chair and with a nice foam mattress. Before I spend the money, I want to test it out. With that said, I've been trying to get the right width. They're all just too big. This might be perfect. She's referencing this Haley box solo bed that I have here, which is only 25 inches wide. Most of the minivan camping beds that I use are 30 inches. This one is 25, and in fact, my leg right now, oh, you guys can't even see it. My leg right here is in a position where normally my mattress would be constricting me. So glad that I have that. At Dana Reality 11 asks, do the Dodge Caravans allow you to keep just one seat like this one behind me in the back? Because she needs it for her toddler, and this is a perfect setup. I believe with the Dodge Grand Caravan, you can definitely pull out, just like I have, 2/3 or 1/3 of your third row seat. You also have those stow and go seats, and a lot of folks will take those seats completely out and then use those compartments as little storage compartments. Great idea. Make sure you stay safe out there. Thank you for the question. And then Joe's Outdoor Adventures, another great YouTuber. He does a lot of small fire starting videos and other camping and just general outdoors stuff in general. You seem to have the bed situation in your minivan taken care of. Yes, I've been working on the van for years. A comfortable bed is definitely the biggest challenge for sleeping in the back of my 4Runner. So he's got a 4Runner. Presently, I'm using a 63 by 26 by 3 inch memory foam mattress. For me, that would be a little too short. Firmness is not quite right. The space is very hard to fit, as most mattresses are a standard 72 inches long, which is what I have here. I think the only solution is to find a custom mattress company. Perhaps you could also possibly find you a cheap memory foam mattress, maybe like a twin size or a queen size or a full size even, and then just open it up, cut it to the size that you want, and then potentially either sew with a sewing machine the mattress cover to the size that you want it, or maybe pay someone that sews to do that for you. The 4Runner can definitely be tight. It also is very much more off-road capable than even my lifted Sienna. All right, guys, moment of truth. Let's see. How does that look? The lentils feel maybe a little bit al dente. Not 100% positive. I'm gonna try them out. I think I need about at least 5, if not 10 more minutes. They're not ready just yet. All right, my food is finally done. I can tell particularly because my better cheddars have split down the middle. My lentils actually feel pretty soft. Everything here smells pretty tasty. There's a little bit of sea salt and other just standard seasoning in there. Nothing too crazy, but I'm gonna go ahead and eat this food and then get ready for bed. So even though I'm out here in the middle of the forest, I do like to put up my shades or my curtains here. And the main reason is I don't expect to see anybody in the middle of the night, but if I do see someone in the middle of the night, I don't want to wake up with someone just staring down at me while I'm sleeping. That would be a little bit awkward, right? So that is basically it. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm gonna lay down and then get some sleep. So I'm gonna definitely sleep with my jacket off. It's certainly nice enough for that. It's still probably about 50 degrees Fahrenheit right now. But if I get cold in the middle of the night, I have this really warm hat. And then for the morning, I've got some gloves. I may end up actually restarting the diesel heater in the morning, but I'll have to pull that whole window curtain shade thing out to do that. My front window's already fogged up, so let me stop flapping my gums and get ready and get some sleep for the night so we can have some good coffee early in the morning. It's honestly still warm enough right now that I don't even need this blanket. I'm going to keep it on though because the temperature will certainly drop throughout the night. But here's kind of like a question that I have for you. I'm out here in the middle of the forest. There's really nothing around me. I have been hearing a couple coyotes and I can hear deer or other animals walking around in the leaves out there. But what experience would you prefer? Something like this out in the middle of the forest, or something like a Cracker Barrel parking lot? Those are truly two ends of the spectrum for minivan camping, so that's why I want to know. Should I go and do a Cracker Barrel parking lot or some stealth camping, excuse me? Those are some other things that I can do. Either way, it's been an absolutely phenomenal afternoon. I'm going to get some sleep, and I will see you guys in the morning. Oh, man, guys, that was the best sleep I've gotten in a long time. I just get so busy. I get so busy that I don't get a lot of sleep. Not having an alarm, not having any distracting noises. Now, the heated blanket did keep me warm, and now that I'm getting out of the heated blanket, I'm already starting to feel that it's basically 40 degrees in here. So, definitely chilly. The good thing about this blanket, it's got settings. I had it on low, and as it started to get cool throughout the night, I would just slowly dial it up. But I should have preheated this jacket. Something that really cracks me up about this spot is, I don't know if you guys can see it right there. There's a porta potty, which definitely has no business out here. There's absolutely no way it could be serviced here. So somebody must have stolen it and brought it out here. So I said I slept perfectly. I did wake up a few times, a little chilly. I had to turn up the heated blanket. I also considered turning on the diesel heater again, but once I warmed up everything with the heated blanket, it was honestly fine. So 40 degrees with that heated blanket, for me anyway, is perfect. And I'm a 2-cup kind of guy, so I'm gonna have this first cup, then I'll have a second cup, then I'll finally hit the road. It's honestly cold enough right now that I should have wore my blanket out here. My hands are already starting to get a little cold, but I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. And I almost forgot to take down this diesel heater. It was sitting right up there, and that would have been a disaster for sure if that spilled and fell all over my bed. Anyway, guys, another adventure down. It's actually been a lot of fun. Now I'm gonna finally hit the road.